fasten your seatbelts, and obey the no smoking signs. It's time for Jett Theory Radio. Live from the ATX, and welcome to episode 9 of Jett Theory Radio. I am David, but you may know me better as the one they call Jetter. I want to thank you for tuning in and listening to us this day. Today, we've got Nate from Later Days. You may remember him from, the very first episode, if you're into continuity and keeping up with things in Jett Theory Radio land. I know I am. Today, we're going to be talking with him about Austin as a comedy town. Going to be battling it out about the best video game system to play if you just had one system and one system only for the rest of your life to play. And then we're going to get into a little bit of music talk, because why not? You know, we got a music man on here. Might be expert in the area. So, but you know who isn't an expert in the area? The man to my left, Mr. Gail Murrin.
Oh. Hi, Nate. I'm the Shady Justice.
Yeah, what beer are you drinking today?
I'm actually not.
Clear beer.
Yay! And I'm also Jetter's voice of reason.
I've seen this.
You've seen this. Hey. Voice of reason for me never to really introduce him again, folks. That's right. I said it. Late on the pickup there. Cheesy line, but I'm just going to go with it.
Okay.
So, Mr. Murrin, how things been there for you lately? Good, bad, indifferent, meh?
I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine. That's good to hear. Good to hear.
So how is Nate doing?
Yes. Nate, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing great.
Cool, man.
This is a roommate session, more or less, you could call it. 3 people living under one household. 3 grown men. We're really just missing a couple of children, and we'd have full house.
That's true.
Why are we not living the full house dream?
I get to be Uncle Jesse. Clearly.
Dave Coulier. I'll take Dave
He's the one who
Coulier.
plays music.
I'll take
Okay.
Dave Coulier as I'm cheesy as can be, and Mr. Cleany Man over there.
Yeah, we all know what Saget is behind the scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Someone
sex
that
with Kimmy Gibbler, what do you want?
No.
that's what you get. That's what you chose right there. You
What
were
is-
proud.
What
You
does
were proud to
Kimmy
take the
Gibbler look
Saget
like
character.
now?
And you inspired Alanis Morissette.
Just fine. Fuller House. You should really watch it.
I didn't
You
watch
really
Fuller
shouldn't
House.
watch Fuller House.
Really should watch Fuller House. It is awesome.
Oh no.
Same setup, some new characters. Oh, it's delicious.
Literally does not have the Olsen twins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the problem. And they're coaxing them on. That's the big fourth wall break there, is trying to bring on the Olsen twins.
I'm not going to do it.
Give it time.
I won't.
Give it time.
I can't.
They've already done 2 seasons in the span of 2 years.
Without the Olsen twins, there's 2 of them.
Yeah. Watch. Third year, it's going to happen.
They make entirely too much money to even care about it.
Which is why they just go on for just a little gimmick thing.
They're too cool, man. They're way too cool.
Nah.
They're the posh
One.
spice.
They are the posh
They're
spice.
the
One would
posh
break.
Spice of Family Matters.
One would break.
No.
I'd
Which
say
one? Which one?
Which one?
Which twin?
You don't even know their names.
Yeah, I know.
Mary Kate or Ashley, okay?
So who's breaking, Mary Kate or Ashley?
You're the expert.
I'm
and
not
why?
that much of an expert. I don't really know the details as to why. I'm just going to say Mary Kate.
Maybe one of them is getting a divorce and blah, 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 but I figure you would know
One
that.
of them did marry some old billionaire guy involved with fashion and stuff. Like when they went down that fashion area, they shut up right now.
Yep.
Sounds like an expert.
I believe
Going
that
all
was
about
Nate putting his
TMZ.
hand out and saying, yes, the expert on Mary
Yeah.
Kate and
The
Ashley.
shut up.
didn't
The
stop
shut up
it.
was more to me.
That would have gone on forever if we didn't stop him.
That
gone
could
on
have gone
for-
on
Would've
for
been
a
a
while.
bonus
That-
episode.
yeah.
The Olsen Files.
Great start.
The Olsen Files.
Speaking of stupid, dumb jokes, I had the actually really good pleasure, and it's a bad transition because it's not stupid or dumb jokes. I had the great pleasure of seeing Dave Chappelle recently here in Austin, and oh my, it was so good. Got balcony seats with some friends of mine, and we were dead center right there. I mean, like if
Hey, Nate, did you get an invite to that?
I did not. But I saw
Awkward
Dave.
roommate
I
silence.
saw Dave. I saw Dave Chappelle when he came back from Africa like 10 years ago, so I'm good.
Oh, fair.
oh, he's even better since then. I think like he's just had more of that time, like post coming out of the limelight, or his big return, and he had a lot to say about Trump, which was nice to hear. Made some actually really good points and a really good reason for him being there.
I heard Ashy Larry opened up. Is this true?
I believe so.
He's the guy who's like, I'm rich!
No.
He did open up one of the dates.
He didn't for my show that I was at. A gentleman named Mohammed and a female comedian from out in California opened up. Really high-pitched voice, and she like joked about it a lot, and I forget her name. Mr. Gale's going to fact check that and find out what that is, because they were both really good comedians. She was definitely a good like first person to go out there and just test the crowd, see what the levels are. And then Mo came out and he just crushed it and just really got the room temperature and things going. And then Chappelle walked on out.
So why was he there? Chappelle? He said there's a reason he was there.
Oh, he's there in Austin.
Ah, never mind.
Yeah. But it was the fifth night in a row of working at the Moody Theater. I had some friends who saw it earlier in the week and really enjoyed it. And I guess there were different openers for the show that they went to versus the show I saw. So it was nice to see that it was different each time. And from what I heard from other podcasts, Chappelle's really good, especially when he's got multi-dates in a single town, where he'll open the show one way with a certain set of jokes just to try to feel how the town goes, and then by the final night he's fine-tuned all the jokes to where it's just perfect. And I got to see that like fine-tuned goodness.
You're not the first person I've heard say that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the style of a good comedian, to be able to like, and a style of a good comedian, and ability to judge a town and like to know what works in the town. I never heard anybody report anything about a bad night or a bad experience there. So. Well, I take that back. There was one guy who I heard was kind of disappointed in it. And it was as me and my friends were walking out, and we were talking about how good it was, and there was a nice little silence. And the guy behind me was like, "You talked about Trump." And his girlfriend's like, "Yeah? Well, he said that he'd only talk about it the first few minutes, but then it kept going." She's like, "Yeah, but it was funny." Mm-hmm. And he was just sad and disappointed that was the subject matter.
Right on.
Mm-hmm. I turned to my friends and I was like, there's an old Greg Proops joke, which is, Greg Proops from...
I do.
Mm-hmm. But whose line is it anyway? Yep. He made a joke one time and somebody was offended, and his response was, you can laugh at it. If you you can laugh at something you don't agree with. It's called sophistication.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. And that's my thought too. It's joke. People are here to be funny, to lighten the mood. If you don't like it, so be it. But Mr. Murren, has there been anybody come through to this city here that you have experienced comedy-wise? Any good shows?
I haven't been to a comedy show since Mr. Nealon came through. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he's only funny on Weeds. And like maybe like in real life, but like
I think he's a sidekick comedian.
Funnier, yeah. He's not very good in SNL. He's like all right.
Yeah.
But Weeds was the first time I actually thought he was hilarious, and he was one of my favorite characters in the show.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely one of the more. He doesn't need to be the main attraction. He helps boost whoever's there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing who opened for him.
Not seeing who opened for Chappelle. Yeah. All right, we'll figure it out.
Maybe
sometime.
It was acid flashback.
That opened for Chappelle?
No, you thought there was somebody.
Maybe you're the one.
If I was hallucinating, then the fact that I wasn't on anything that night. Ooh.
That's why I called it a flashback.
Mm-hmm. Well, who did we go see? We saw somebody at the comedy club on my birthday, like right after I moved to town. That comedy club on the north side of town. I'm blanking on the name. Cap City. And that's had a lot of good acts come through. Now, I'm surprised, Nate, you said you haven't really seen a comedy show.
I haven't. I I have not. I've seen one. I went to one.
There hasn't even been a time, like, as a band, like, you don't have a comedian open for a band and you didn't see that?
No, the bands don't really do that anymore. I went to the funniest person in Austin competition to support my friend Lee, who did it, and she was incredible. And it was a lot of funny stuff. I can't speak. It was very funny. Cut that out.
Oh, you mean cut that out?
Cut that out. But no, it was great. I just haven't had the time. I between like working and working on music, and then the incredible amount of time I spend sleeping, I have not gone. I don't know why. I'm not against it.
Is there anybody, if they came to town and you got free tickets, let's say,
Yeah.
who would you want to go see come through town?
I think the thing is I never think to go. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of things happening around this town that like I just never even think about it.
And also, one comedy's a little bit more pricey.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
Chappelle was $80.
But Cap City, I mean the venue
It's good.
depends. Moody, it's gonna be expensive. Cap Theater, Cap City is great. And, I don't know. I'm honestly not that well versed in comedians of today, other than ones that are actors. I couldn't tell you. You know what I mean? But I mean anybody, like Chappelle or like Bill Hicks. Like if somebody suggested somebody in that vein that was coming to town, I'd absolutely go. I like, a lot of like kind of truth and darkness in my comedy.
Jim Jeffries then would be somebody that came through town recently, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming back around before too long. He's a comedian from Australia, really good, really in that same vein there with. He's actually got a show coming out on Comedy Central here soon, his own weekly show, and that's going to be.
I'll check it out.
That's going to be interesting to watch.
There's this guy, Dean Delray, that I'd love to see. He's this guy who was he's in his 40s now. He was a singer in like the hair metal scene in the 80s in California, and he became a comedian in his 40s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he has a podcast where he talks to like, like some of the Queens of the Stone Age dudes and like rock photographers, other comedians. And I would love, to see him. So I guess there's one.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Mern, anybody you'd want to have on your comedy radar coming on out looking for?
I mean, there's a lot. But I would say
Are
I
they
just
coming
need
here?
to. I have
No,
no
this
idea.
is like if a show were to come, somebody you'd want to like see.
My problem with like a lot of, and I don't know enough about it, but I think one of the things about Austin is that sometimes comedy here is much like the music, where a lot of national acts only come here during ACL or South by, and then I don't know
Or
what
the
it's
Moonlight Tower.
You have that
Festival.
Moonlight Tower Comedy Festival. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of people only come into town for that, and I could be wrong.
No, there are that. I did see a lot of bigger acts throughout the year, like Amy Schumer came through town. Jim Jeffries had come through town. Chris Rock, if I remember, is going to be coming through town. Not during Moonlight.
Or Moon Tower. Right?
Or
Moon Tower.
Moon Tower, yeah, sorry. But there are a lot more like smaller acts, more people who either have a Netflix special or might be in talks for a Netflix special, but not necessarily have their own thing or be in the national spotlight outside of that. Probably more comedians that were on At Midnight at one point or another.
Right on.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, it's awesome. It's a Comedy Central show hosted by Chris Hardwick and
I like him.
Oh yeah.
Singled Out.
Yep.
That's my dude.
Oh yeah.
No matter what he does, he'll always be that dude from Singled Out.
And he jokes about that too all the time on the show.
Oh yeah.
Word is he might, NBC's offered him something.
Yeah,
Singled Out,
they have.
2017.
No, talk show? Not a talk show.
Is he
A
supposed
game
to-
show.
Yeah. Oh, he's supposed to, or narrate something?
He's great. He's one
Yeah.
of my more so favorite TV personalities that gets thrown a lot of bones.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a man of us. He's like a man of the people.
Oh yeah. He just flew too high to that MTV sun.
I mean, it was the style at the time.
I mean, so did Carson Daly.
Yeah, Carson Daly though landed elsewhere.
Yeah, Josie and the Pussycats for one.
His own 2 a.m. show on NBC. what was that, like last call with Carson Daly?
It's like last call.
Yeah.
Like last
It's
call.
like his last call. Last chance.
Last chance.
Carson
Last-
Daly.
Last chance to be bored to sleep.
Hey, you know.
This didn't put you to sleep beforehand. Carson Daly surely will.
Last chance to surrender to insomnia with Carson Daly. If this won't put you to sleep, nothing will.
See, I'll typically, like, if I'm just up that late and can't sleep, I'll typically throw out a YouTube video of some sort, like either a science lecture or something like that. Something that, like, piques my interest and is good just to have rattle in my brain.
Planet Earth, man. Planet Earth.
Planet Earth.
Just let the British narrator dude talk over the beautiful landscapes, and it's just like, oh.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I don't even know what I do. I just lay in bed for hours. Because then I feel like I need to pay attention to something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to stay up. I'm going to be all about planet Earth. I'm going to be there.
So if you can't sleep, do you just have to, like, bore yourself? How do you bore yourself to sleep then?
I just lay in bed, man. I just lay in bed and then, be like, I just count, like, all right, well, now I have, 4 hours to work, 3 hours to work.
2 hours to work. Well, I might as well just get ready for work.
Yeah, honestly. Generally when I can't go to sleep, I'll play video games. Just something where, like, if I'm going to give something my attention, how much attention can I give it? I'm going to give it so much attention until I can't keep my eyes open. You know what I mean?
What video game, then?
What video game?
What video game bores you to tears?
No, it's not even about that. It's like, what video game bores me to tears? I don't know, man.
See, then you're still
on Sega, probably.
Oh.
If I had
See,
to...
I
Now-
like
now
me
he's
some
trying.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Now we're you know what? We'll just go right on into it.
I think the first shot has been fired.
Even before we get to the discussion. Okay, so to prep up those listening in, our battle today is going to be pick a video game system that, if this was the only system you had to have for, you're stranded on a desert island, you got enough energy to be able to power up one system and one system only, what do you choose?
Or you only had enough room in your bag for one system.
To bring with you.
Yeah, to bring with you.
Either way, semantics at that point, whatever. You have a video game system, just one, that you could play in whatever kind of environment, but that's the only video game system you get that you're stuck with.
You mean until I hang myself with the cord on the island?
That's horrible.
You've seen Castaway. It gets dark for a second,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was like eventual. You just dove right on in.
I said eventually. You know what I mean? I'm an all or nothing
Hey, some
kinda
people
guy.
get there quicker than others.
Can't survive on fish, man. Like in coconuts, can't do it. Mm-hmm. Where am I plugging this thing in on an island? What's going on here?
See, now you're just thinking way too much into this.
You know who survived on an island? Full House. They ended up seeing the Beach Boys. They got lost.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's a true
I
story.
forgot
I'm
about
sorry,
that.
continue.
You should know all about that.
I don't know every detail about Full House.
Oh,
Just
come
the
on.
Olsen twins.
Just the old. Oh, we
He
forgot the
knows that
creep.
they were on it, and then after that, he knows other things.
Yeah.
Switching Goals. There was a New York one. That was a
Which
movie.
video game system are you gonna pick? Why don't you start it off this time? Why don't you?
I always started off.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Just relax, take it easy. Some people know what they're doing.
Take it easy, yeah?
So, for my system, I'm going to choose something a little crazy here, just because I want a little bit more fun and debate, because obviously, if whoever chose a Nintendo Entertainment System, it would have been an automatic win no matter what was said, just because we'd all agree on that.
So I win.
No.
Keep in mind that he just said that I win.
I disagree
all would
entirely.
win.
Before Murren comes at you with his dated graphics.
I'm just saying.
So, I just went with the wild card, and I chose a Sega Genesis. Yeah, there really wasn't difference between all three iterations. So the second one. No, first one, because you can play a certain game with it. Yeah, there was distinction between there was three different versions of Sega that came out.
Can do that and the Sega CD.
That's the second one that could do the Sega CD, but that to me is almost a new system. I'm just going with the core system.
All right.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm choosing the first one is because there is one game in particular, the X-Men video game, that you have to hit the reset button just right. And later versions of the system didn't have that reset button.
You had to hit the reset button to do what?
There was a point where a virus corrupted the game, quote unquote, in the X-Men game, and you have to hit the reset button at the right time for the game to reset, and then it lets you go to the next step. And it really pissed a lot of people off because you could get up to that point, and if you do it too early or you do it too late or not at the right time when you hit that button, that's it. The whole game reset, and you have to do it all over again. It was a really piss you off kind of moment.
Yeah, and you wanna do that when you're already on an island and push your sanity that much further.
It's got a good point.
Regular Sega system with the 6-button controller.
All right.
Nate, what do you want to pick?
Well, keep in mind that Jetter already said that Nintendo would win, even though Gale didn't. That's still 2 out of 3, so I've won before we started. Thank you very much.
Gale loses?
Gale loses.
All right.
But I win.
Okay.
Because I win. I picked the Super Nintendo, and the reason I picked the Super Nintendo is because I've had most of these systems, but as I've gotten older, I've consolidated, and I was actually going to go between Nintendo 64 and Super Nintendo, but over the last year, I sold all my Nintendo 64 stuff to buy more Super Nintendo stuff, so Super Nintendo. Because that's kind of what I've gotten into in my whole life, so why not?
There was just the one version of the system, no add-ons for it or anything like that I can remember, no special controllers, really. Okay, cool. Just wondering if there's if you have to get that specific. But
No,
yeah.
Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo I have in my closet. That's what I pick. I'm bringing it with me. I'm leaving you both here.
Okay. On to me.
Mr. Murrin.
PlayStation.
Now, just because there's different iterations of it, I assume you're choosing.
PlayStation.
He's
That's
choosing
not
number
how
one.
It's PlayStation.
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 Why am I choosing PlayStation? Because they kind of changed the game.
For being a
When it
game changer?
arrived.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like we were hitting a wall, and then Sony did something that flipped everyone like back into mode. Like, and I'm not talking your heart. There was always going to be the hardcore gamer going through that, but games were tailing, and then Sony kicked in, and then all of a sudden ever since then it's been a race. Every time a new system or new thing. But basically, PlayStation really brought that race to a new level.
Okay.
And also had fantastic games. Thanks to, Final Fantasy is, Final Fantasy.
You're going, well,
Well, I mean, you
Okay.
have, yeah.
final.
I mean,
Go ahead.
If you had to pick, like, okay, let's just to add on to this, what's one game that would be like the game that you would want to bring on for the system that helps make it better?
Oh, I just chose mine.
Final
which
Fantasy.
one, though?
Oh, I would say series. Just the series itself. Okay, fine.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, sorry. We're trying to
That's
flash Gale
another
signals.
episode right there.
We're trying to
send me
flash Gale
signals
signals.
of which one, but yet one is picking 8 and one is
picking
picking
8,
7.
but
I'm picking 7.
I've played 7 so many times. 8?
And Dis on Cloud?
But you know what? I would pick 3,
But that'd be Final Fantasy 3, aka
which
Final,
is for Super Nintendo.
which is Final Fantasy 6 in the series, if I remember right. Yeah, which is by far my favorite.
And that's for what?
Super Nintendo.
Ooh.
Ooh. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean,
7 is so
besides somebody's favorite game, Sonic the Hedgehog, from Mr.
Yeah,
Shady
see, that's
Justice for Sega.
Yeah.
I'd say one of my fun games that I really like for the Sega is Zombies Ate Your Neighbors. Zombies
Yeah,
Ate
but
My
that's on
Neighbors.
Super Nintendo as well. So that kind of cancels each other out. And the Super Nintendo one's a little bit better.
Comic Zone.
Comic Zone? Is Comic Zone not for Super Nintendo?
Nope.
It's not that good. It doesn't hold up. Have you played it recently?
Yes.
I thought it was like really cool when I was a kid. Just like I thought being a dolphin was really cool named Echo. But it's not that cool now. I think I came to the realization recently that the games don't hold up and the system is not that cool. When I played, I had a friend. I mean, I have Moonwalker. I think that game's great. I think there are some games that are great, but they're all kind of play through games. You know, there's not a lot of depth. Like you know what I mean. So like on Super Nintendo, I can save my games. I have incredibly long games. I can't beat Final Fantasy in one sitting. I can't beat Super Mario RPG in one sitting. I mean,
There
can.
there are RPG games for the Sega as well.
Yeah, but I mean,
Phantasy Star,
But what's the saving capability?
same.
Same?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You can save in those games. I mean, that's just the nature of like an RPG game. So I
Yeah.
mean that's done for all the systems. Although one person has to be sure to bring a memory card in order to make any saves on their system.
That's fair.
Okay.
And I think I think that the Super Nintendo graphics hold up the best. I think that PlayStations were just okay and aren't that great now, super pixelated. They weren't even the innovators of that. You have Sega that was the first innovator of the disc. Well, you know what I mean, from a major gaming corporation that we use in America other than PC.
Well, I'll even give him like disc-based games if you want to go that route. Okay, PlayStation has that because they were really the ones that were able to make that popular. Sega CD was, it was trying, it was there, but the games people didn't really know what to do because a lot of times they were just slightly upgraded versions of a regular game.
Okay,
like
so-
instead of NBA Jam, you have NBA Jam Extreme.
Well, I also brought
Sewer
really to
sharks.
light the. I don't want to. I don't know how you would categorize it. I guess I'm not good at the categorizing, but I'll just say it. The Metal Gear Solid. It's two things you guys really didn't have before PlayStation game. That type of adventure shooting game.
You know that Metal Gear Solid was on other systems before PlayStation, right?
2 games on the original NES.
Oh, I did not know that.
There you go.
Okay,
Okay.
but also, I mean,
So okay, what Sony did for you, and I'll throw you a bone here and give a little video game history for you.
No, you know what? If you're gonna get cocky, no.
I'll throw you a bone. How about
I
this?
don't need a bone thrown.
You do.
I don't think so.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, I guess I could say the animation, but I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's right
what
over
you
there.
guys are really discounting is that basically PlayStation took over. Where was Nintendo when PlayStation happened? It hit a toilet.
Not really.
No.
Sega
hit
hit a
N64.
toilet.
Yeah,
Nah,
yes.
no. Look at sales. Look at sales. Go ahead, boys. I'll fact check the shit out of that.
Look how people.
Boom.
Look how things have hold up. You go to like any fucking frat house in America, and it's like, let's play. People still think they're wrong. People still think that Mario Kart 64 is the best Mario Kart. People still play it.
I
You don't go
agree.
over to someone's house and they're like,
I agree.
let's play Twisted Metal, bro. It's going down.
I agree. But at the time, who took over?
Yeah, but I'm talking about now and what I'm bringing with me. I'm talking about like,
Okay.
what is the best system
There's-
for me to spend
your
my time
your
on?
argument is also longevity, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, it's partial. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking about of the single system. I'm not talking about what Nintendo did after. I'm talking about you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you know, Duck Hunt was super rad, and like it was the first time you could do something with a gun in a game. But you know, it's like that's not for a reason for me. There's all kinds of times in the history of video game systems where people have taken over, but that's not going to be the reason for me to pick that.
Fair. Okay.
Enjoyment.
Because, well, yeah, in that same line, Sega really was the one that sparked, like, Nintendo was the dominator for video game systems until Sega came out with their system and brought a really good competitor to the
Well,
original
that-
Nintendo.
I feel
Released
like
Dreamcast,
I
and
feel
then-
like no matter what you do, the PlayStation is going to be the first to break. You know what I mean? The systems are going to be the first ones to get. The games are going to be the first to get messed up.
Okay, I'll give it to that with
Something on
the
the disc
original.
isn't
Since I
gonna be-
picked the original PlayStation, yes. Okay.
Well,
Just before-
on any like disc-based system, it's all going to be disc rot, and if it gets scratched and you
because
try
look
to
at
clean it
everybody's-
after you clean it
look
enough
at-
times,
Yeah, but look at everybody's PS3s. They're still going, man.
well, yeah, it's
That's
PS3s.
PS3.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So it's not all disc games. It's the original disc games.
Yeah, but for the moment we're
For the
talking
moment,
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
original
yeah. So that's
disc
why I
game.
said I
Yeah.
give that to
That's
you
going to
because
be
it's
the
the PlayStation.
first thing to get messed up. No matter where you go.
Cartridges can be launched in the air, hit with a bunch of stuff thrown in different ways, and they're still going to be relatively okay to
I'll
use.
show you some.
Yeah. I think we all got
Do you have
some
cartridges with dents?
Yeah.
I'll show you some. I'll take a bat.
dents, initials, tape, anything you can get just to hold the game together.
I think that's going to be the first to go. And without the saving things, you can't even save.
Without the memory card.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't even save without the memory card.
Big up, though. His can play CDs.
Yeah, but did you take CDs? He didn't, because all you took were your videos.
Okay, I guess we're going back to the island, not just the one.
Yeah.
This one's the best. And that's the
Yeah,
options.
I wasn't the one who picked the scenario. I
Yeah,
just
that's fair,
sat back
that's fair.
here and I thought about what I should say.
Maybe I should have picked something different that I wouldn't
too
get
late.
sanded in my CD player.
It's too late. Man.
So, okay.
Your optical thing's gonna get messed up and it's gonna go.
Then again, we can get sand in our cartridges. No, that's even worse.
Is it?
Blowing into the cartridges of any system is bad because it's all the moisture particles from your mouth going into the cartridge deteriorates
I
it over
haven't
time.
broken a game yet doing that, and it's been 20 years. So,
But it's degrading at a faster rate than if you didn't do that.
Well, I mean, it's literally been 20
Mm-hmm.
years. You know what I mean? I haven't broken one yet.
This is just what
Hey.
they've researched and found out about the system,
Oh.
which is terrible because I
But
did
I'm
the same
saying
thing for years.
I'm saying for me, if you're
Yeah.
saying what if sand gets in your cartridge, I'm saying I can blow it out. You're saying it's not good for it. I'm saying I haven't had a problem with it.
Okay,
It'll still work in the short term.
then let's go game.
And the same thing goes to you.
So
You
let's
can
go
do the same.
game enjoyability.
See, that's.
See, I don't
we're
think
gonna have to argue
games
that,
that I really.
Well, I'll point this out. With the Sega system, if you die, you have to start all the way from the beginning. With the PlayStation, you have the option of save points. With Super Nintendo, depending on the game,
Yeah.
you get to start all the way over from the beginning, or you can go back to your save point. So I think for replayability, the fact that you've got to really know the game and know the system is something that I would enjoy longer out of mine.
Yeah, but it's like you can't get that in depth. It's like I feel like with a lot of games for that, it's like speed run. You know what I mean? It's just
Once you master it, it takes a while to get to that mastering
yeah,
point.
but it's like games that I thought were great back in the day, like Altered Beast. That game's not that good now. You know what I mean? And I feel like Super Nintendo has your broadest spectrum of things that you can do. If you want to do that with, I mean, granted, all the Marios for Mario All-Stars you can save and stuff, but you want to get through that stuff anyway. I mean, there are some good games for the Sega, but I feel like in terms of from, the NBA Jams to your, Zeldas, I feel like the RPGs are what really takes forth, and then games like Zelda are like just bring you in more than Sega games.
They are definitely more long-term
And
games.
if I only have one system, it's like you can play, Link to the Past for a very long time. Super Mario RPG is gonna catch your eye. You have the Final Fantasies. There's just more that you can do. I feel like Sega is way more of a simple system from the graphics to the games, and I feel like they don't hold up as much. That's why you don't see a lot of people that still play their Segas as much as people that have well-regarded, Nintendo, and I think that's one of the small reasons why the company isn't really around the way that it was,
Well,
other than Dreamcast.
when I was growing up and stuff like that, we made the decision. We had the 8-bit Nintendo, and then we got the Sega Genesis. And once I got that was enough for me. Like there's a lot of games, third-party games especially, between Super Nintendo and Sega that they share, and so then you boil it down to first-party games for the systems.
I feel like Sega and Nintendo are more on the regular Nintendo are more on the same level than Super Nintendo. You have those same kind of thing. You have those simplistic games, for let's say some, Alvin and the Chipmunks is a great game. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those are more on the same level of graphics, of what kind of games they have. Regular Nintendo also has those RPGs, but I feel like they're both very simple.
Sega
systems.
also has RPGs as well, so we're
No, I know. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm saying, but they're closer in graphics. You know what
no
I mean?
8 bits versus 16 bits. Huge difference between regular Nintendo and Sega.
As opposed to Super Nintendo, which is what?
16.
16?
Yeah. Super Nintendo and Sega are pretty much running on the same kind of processors, same kind of system. Sega
I feel like
there was
the
a big
games
promotion
don't-
with Blast.
Games don't show it. I feel like there's a specific kind of animation that Nintendo followed that I'm more in line with.
That Sega Sega was able to process it a lot more information faster at a faster rate than the Super Nintendo. So they were able to have games like Sonic that neither Nintendo nor Super Nintendo could really have
So
until
what
they
are-
had special mod chips
So
in
what
the
are
games.
like 10 great games that you would play for Sega?
Besides all the Sonics, besides Comic
You
Zone.
can include Sonic as one. You know what? Exclude them. Let's exclude those. You can count Comic Zone because I feel like that's not as well known as we think it is.
X-Men, X-Men 2, Clone Wars, Vector Man 2.
I'm talking about series. You know what I mean? Like series.
Those are series.
No, I know, but I'm saying so. Vector Man 2, 1. You know
So
what
you're
I mean?
trying to so what's your criteria here? Just trying to figure out the better series of games?
No, it's just like, but based on like, Super Nintendo has these games that everybody knows are great. Like in terms of like volume of games. For everything from, Ghouls and Ghosts to, the Hook game. There's so many games. There's such a high volume of games. And maybe Sega had too. I'm not as well versed in Sega.
They both have high amount of video games. So I mean, that's not the
Was Vector Man for the original?
yeah.
All right.
So I mean, I guess I'm not understanding where you're
I'm just
coming
saying,
from.
I'm just trying to say because, I'm trying to figure out why Sega doesn't really gel with me. I don't particularly like the system. I feel like I had more fun with Game Gear than I did with Sega.
A lot of that was just simplified versions. They were more the 8-bit version of the Sega Genesis than anything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't feel like those games hold up for me, anymore. Like I said, I played a bunch recently and I just did not catch my attention at all.
Okay. I feel the same way about a lot of PlayStation games and about a lot of Super Nintendo games that way.
Mm-hmm. Like what Super Nintendo games?
Some of the first party ones, like the Mario, it's fun, but it seemed really long, especially with what I was expecting out of a Mario game. Mario All Stars was pretty okay. Donkey Kong Country, I never really enjoyed those series. They were a great visual game, but I just never.
So I get.
So more of my entryway into Super Nintendo was more with the RPGs. So all the Final Fantasies, Breath of Fire 1 and 2, those kind of games is what I really got. I never got into Chrono Trigger, but I have the PlayStation 1 version of it. I just am waiting to get into it and finally play it.
I was looking at I was looking up something else to fact check. I saw a little picture that combined all three systems. That combined a lot of other. We picked three systems that mostly have the exact same controller with the exact same button positions. Mm-hmm. And we chose not to go outside of that with an N64 or one of the other systems
the
that
Wii.
had, that then changes the controller. We went straight to that very formatted controller. Is there something there why we're choosing that?
I feel like for me, I think what made me go to pick Super Nintendo over Nintendo 64 had nothing to do with the controller. While I like their version of the game, obviously Ocarina of Time, I can play Majora's Mask forever. You have Mario 64, you have Donkey Kong 64. It's a lot of open world stuff. You know what I mean? And for some reason, the Super Nintendo stuff just resonates with me better now. If I only have one, system that I can play, you don't really get that many RPGs, and the ones for N64 that there weren't that good.
See, so you're really coming from the nostalgic factor, from the very how it hits you personally kind of factor.
It's from the graphics. I just think the games are better. I think the storylines are great for games. The games that you just mentioned. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think now, I think Nintendo 64 is an incredible, party system. You know what I mean? I think if we were all trapped on an island and I could have one system, it would be on 64. We could play GoldenEye. We could play Mario Party. We could play Mario Kart. Mm-hmm. There's so many things that we can all do together. But if I'm playing by myself,
just like what you're saying is basically they moved on with the Wii to get even more party-like.
If I can, that was kind of their niche at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I want, and maybe that's why I picked the why I like the Super Nintendo so much and why I don't like, the Sega. I feel like I can get more immersed in Super Nintendo, and it can take up more of my time. You know, I feel like if I went
Just through RPGs?
through RPGs alone, you know what I mean? And I feel like though I love games and I would absolutely play them, like the Mario series, like Hook, like the Animaniacs game, which is actually absolutely fantastic. If I was to get up right now and go to the Super Nintendo and plug in the third, the third Final Fantasy or the second one or Mario RPG, I would get really involved in the character development and the storylines, and that would keep me there and wanting to continue.
See, so if RPG is the name of the game and story immersion, there are a lot more JRPGs and a lot more just RPGs over on the PlayStation system. That's more immersive
Yeah,
if that's
but-
what you're going for.
But it's not even that, because it's like, that's the thing I like about Nintendo, and a thing that a lot of people don't like about Nintendo. It's like, I'm not that invested in Sonic. You know what I mean? Like, as a character. I'm like invested in Link. I'm invested in Mario. I'm invested, in things like that. You know what I mean? I'm invested in the Final Fantasy series. I love it. I'll play every game that comes out. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot more of that happening that I'm into in Nintendo. And that's, reason why Nintendo's been successful, and that's been a reason why they're able to open up a theme park. Because they have these characters that people
PlayStation
love.
did try to go that route. I mean, that's what Crash was.
Yeah, they absolutely did. You have Spyro, you have Crash. You know what I mean? You
Crash
have,
Team Racing was good. They just couldn't keep it going.
I mean, you know what? And for the record, I would pick PlayStation over Sega as well. Just not a big Sega guy. I think there was a lot of really great.
But what specifically? I get like Nintendo's important to you. You're immersed in those characters, but then what is different about that, or even between the PlayStation 1?
I personally,
There's a lot of PlayStation 1 characters that are along the Final Fantasy series.
I feel like PlayStation hasn't really aged that well for me, like the graphics. You know what I mean? And
But I'm talking about specifically about characters and stories, because that's what you say, and you're really you're really invested in those characters for Nintendo. So what?
Because I feel like for Super Nintendo, it has a better all around for me, for what I like. You know what I mean? Like, while I love RPGs.
So that's what I'm getting to. Like, what specifically about, is it like they're just the story arc for the character? Is it development for the character? Because guarantee there's a PlayStation version of those characters as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's better, well-rounded overall for me in terms of games that aren't RPGs. You know what I mean? Games that aren't Earthbound, which I think is probably my favorite RPG of all time. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the coolest games ever. You have it's like the 90s and you have an RPG. And granted, they're probably not the only people to do this, where you buy burritos, you know what I mean? And CDs and stuff like that. It's super cool the first time you play that. It's such a nice breath of fresh air. But I can get behind the racing games. There's a Micro Machine racing game for Super Nintendo that's absolutely incredible. You have the games like Super Punch Out, which I loved. You have a lot of the stuff that was on Nick Arcade.
Was there a lot of the sports games? I'm trying to think, because I know Sega was the one that really brought a lot of.
Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball for Super Nintendo.
Sega Madden came around and they were with Sega and started out with that, and that's what this whole Madden franchise with EA Sports
for Super Nintendo.
down the line. But initially, it all was through Sega.
Yeah, and then Sony. I think Sony was the first to buy them out. The Madden series.
To go exclusive with EA Sports?
Yeah, I thought.
No, Sega was the first to go exclusive.
Well, no.
That's what,
Sega was the first to go exclusive, but then Sega crashed and Sony grabbed it for a little while, and then EA got smart and sent it everywhere.
Yeah, that was more. That was actually more thanks to Sega. Like the behind the scenes story of that is that Nintendo had the stranglehold on all the licenses, and they said, "No, you only make for our system. You can't make for other systems." And then EA was one of the big ones that were said, "Well, we're going to make for your system, but we're also going to make for Sega. We're also going to do for this," and branched out from there.
Not have it, and
then
and
Nintendo
won over.
Yeah, because Sega was beating Nintendo there for a while. They had to be like, "Okay," and dove into it. So.
And then Sony stepped in and really used their money leverage.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. Sony coming in being a powerhouse. And when you look at overall physical size of companies, really outclassed Nintendo and Sega, because Sony was all of these things.
Well, Sega was done at the time.
Yeah,
No.
Sega was basically...
Well, I mean, Dreamcast at the time. That's
No, they did not at the time.
When
PlayStation came out, it was Saturn.
Oh, Saturn.
Because Saturn got announced, and there was the big hoopla with that was that it was like
I never really heard that much about Saturn.
Because
I don't even know.
because it got buried by PlayStation.
Yeah.
When the announcement came out for Sega Saturn, there was a lot of battling going on between Sega of America and Sega of Japan. And Sega Japan was really much like, you've got to push this, you've got to push this. It was, there's this book, Console Wars, that really goes into a lot of behind the scenes stuff with it. But the ultimate outcome was Sega came out and said, Saturn's like $500. And then like they tried to like play up the graphics and stuff like that. Sony came out like a week later or the next day at this big game convention and said $399 or no $299, dropped it and left. And that was all they had to do.
I mean, who afforded the games for you?
For me?
Yeah, who bought them?
Who bought them?
In the beginning?
Probably my parents and or
Yeah,
me. I mean,
that's all
keep
I'm
in
getting
mind when Nintendo 64 came out, which is what, 97, 96?
94.
Oh, wait, never mind. Oh, at the time, yeah, for sure, my parents. I'm thinking about Nintendo 64.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
later on,
you have to keep in mind, in 1994, I'm 7.
Yeah. No,
So-
I mean, that's... so, I mean, that's exactly
Yeah.
what my point was for that. I mean, that's why Sony won. And they could do that also because they could chip that expense of the system off somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or they own some of the places that possibly made the part. I mean, there probably was a whole bunch of different business decisions why they could go $299 and where Sega may have had to go higher.
Yeah, for the, well, it's been a while since I've read up on the details. I don't, yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've researched that.
Yeah, now we're getting out of
Now
it.
we're getting more into the history, not more,
Yeah.
the more like fun adventure, like for yourself. Like for me, I went through so much of the Sega library because we rented a bunch of games. We would go as a family and like go to the video store and either pick out a bunch of Nintendo games or a bunch of Sega games and just play them play them like nobody's business. So there was a lot that I remember playing, a lot that I got exposed to, and with the Super Nintendo stuff, I never really got to like any friend's place and got a chance to play it at all. Really, it just was because there was a lot of the crossover titles and really the party specific titles, which Nintendo's built for since then. I got into about half of them, and when I saw, I was just like, I can wait.
See, yeah. I feel like earlier you said, that you found that like a lot of the Nintendo games were too long.
No,
Like, no, you didn't say that.
no.
You didn't say that you thought that the Mario games were too long, or that Donkey Kong.
No, he
was
didn't
too
say
long?
that they were too long. He just said that
It was just boring.
yeah,
Like
he-
you
he
have all
got
these
bored
save
with
points and you're going through and stuff like that. It just didn't thrill me. Didn't get me.
Well,
They-
that's why. I mean, that's where my love of PlayStation came in. And PlayStation, the games, and maybe a little bit has to do with at the time, like it got me. It was visually just better than the previous ones, and it came through. And Final Fantasy VII came through, and
Definitely had more of the 3D
took off
engine
from
that you could take off with
the
that.
The 3D engine is probably what got me and why that makes it so nostalgic. I do feel a little bit of some of our picks, with the exception of yours, since you went off your original. For Nate and I, there's a bit of nostalgia to our pick.
There's a nostalgia with Sega for me.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there is. Okay, I didn't want to
Yeah.
put words in your mouth there.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there has to be. We're talking about systems that are so old. Like I'm not gonna pick a system like fucking
Hey,
So-
I like the PS4. I mean, the PS4 was definitely on my mind.
PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk about really bringing it to the table, I
feel
mean,
like-
really the PS3 probably brought it first.
I feel like those are in a whole another world because of like.
Yeah, when we talk about
We're
this,
talking about like the
comparing-
capabilities that games can take you now. Like
yeah.
That
I mean,
doesn't
talk
matter.
about
Like
open world.
I'm
we
the
could
kind of
really
person.
get open world.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person. Even if you break it down to simplicity and just simple basics, can it tell a story? Yes. PlayStation 4 can tell a more graphically detailed story, but you can still have just as good of a story from any Super Nintendo game, any PS1 game, any Sega game.
No, I'm sure, but like
Yeah.
I'm talking about. But if we're like playing forever, like if this is all that we can play, like having something super open world like Skyrim.
Let me ask you this. if you could, the second the system, it's shown to you, but your sense and your enjoyment from the system comes from not knowing any other system that came out after it.
Wait, what?
Put this in the scenario and just chew on this for a quick hot minute. Imagine if you pick the PS1, okay? Mm-hmm. When you go and you're in this place that we make up where this is the only system you ever play, you never know about the capabilities of 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
You don't know about any of those other systems that came out afterwards. So you have nothing graphically to compare it to. Same with the Sega. I know nothing about Dreamcast. I know nothing about the Saturn. For Super Nintendo, you know nothing about N64.
Yeah, well, I mean, even though I do, I count them as completely different worlds from each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's 2 different types
Like,
of games.
there's a very
Yeah.
big jump in those systems.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm saying though, if you if your
Sure.
system pick was based on that you never knew
Yeah.
anything about any system later, would that still be your pick? Would you find
Yes,
probably more
because-
enjoyment?
Yes, because I can right now pick any system I want, knowing that, and I pick that system. So if I didn't know that other systems existed after that, it would be just as easy to pick the same system that I'm already playing or picking, even with all the other options.
And I'm picking the same way. I really don't, for me, it was the PlayStation was those specific round of games that hooked me.
So here's a question.
So I mean, and I think that's just slight difference in preference there.
So what do you pick? Do you pick Sega or do you pick Nintendo? Or Super Nintendo?
If I had to steal, if I had to go for the steal on the system, is that what you're asking me? Go for the steal?
No, well, keep in mind, like, this, like, two-person, arguments, like, I still have to choose,
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We all have to steal.
Steal another person's, yeah.
Oh, see, that's a hard one for me. So, I do love my Mario Kart. At the same time, I do love my Sonic. This is really hard for me. I'm taking Sega. And you know why it popped into my head? Probably Breath of Fire.
Was it Super Nintendo?
It was Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
Then I'm going Super Nintendo. Sorry, I was looking at it. I'm looking at a couple different games. I get Game Over, and I'm like, which one? Okay.
Which one do you pick?
Oh, and also because of like the Top Gear.
I have that, by the way.
Yeah, that's the racing.
I have that. I have that in there.
2, I would pick. Because I got to think about the library. You know what? If I just compare it to the library of games I have for either system that I saved after dwindling everything else away after I amassed such a huge collection, I've got about 10 Super Nintendo games, I think, over there, 10 or 11. And that's just the number of RPG games I have for PlayStation 1. And so I have the games in addition to that for PlayStation 1. So just based on that factor, I'd go PlayStation 1.
Yeah, but is the reason why you got rid of so many games is because you can download a ROM now? No.
I cut it down to the games that I kept for the systems that were the ones that I enjoyed while playing it. Granted, there are a few games I do not have, like Breath of Fire 1 and Breath of Fire 2, but even if I include that in with the Super Nintendo pile, I still have more PlayStation 1 games.
How much are those going for these days?
Yeah, but
$60 complete in box minimum.
That's the one I should have jumped on it when I had a chance.
I got Castlevania and Metroid though, and Star Fox.
I'm actually looking. I never enjoyed
have Star
Castlevania.
Fox over there.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah, those are some games I never really like. I never really was big into the Mega Man games. Metroid games were okay.
See, now I understand where you're coming from, and I can see why you wouldn't necessarily be that stoked on Super Nintendo. But in the same aspect, I feel the same way about a lot of stuff for Sega. I don't think a lot of that stuff's that good.
I can tell you the Disney games for Sega were better than the Super Nintendo ones.
They're mostly the same.
There was
Aladdin
was a big
King,
different one.
Toy Story is the killer, man. That's the best one. Toy Story is awesome.
I'm talking about Disney ones.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Oh, Disney Pixar. Well, that was just Pixar at the time.
Yeah. The original like Disney, like when they did like the Darkwing Ducks, the Aladdins, the Lion Kings, the movie tie-in ones, Little Mermaid. All those ones were done differently on the Sega one than they were for the Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo Aladdin, man. And the Lion King's exactly the same on both systems as well.
Similar-ish. There are a couple of differences. But so then what would you pick?
What? Both? What do you think? I think it's pretty obvious.
He doesn't like Sega.
Don't like Sega. I don't think it's that good. PlayStation, just because. What are the PlayStation games I really?
I just want a backup unit. Boom boom.
Okay. He just won the battle. Yeah.
Whatever. I can live with it as long as Sega doesn't win. I got in second place, and I'm fine with that because I don't like Sega.
You know what? I don't care.
We're all still going to eventually play a
people-
Sega
the
game,
people in
play a Super
Radioland
NES game, and play a PlayStation game. It is going to happen.
Why do I pick PlayStation though? I mean, I literally picked PlayStation just for the Final Fantasy.
So, okay. So, can I talk about what have you found this fair in your battle? You thought about going with the Retron.
You can't go with the Retron.
Because it chooses every...
I gotta get used to that lag.
Yeah, there is a distinct lag. That's a big downfall for the system.
I started playing it last night. I started playing Donkey Kong for the Super Nintendo system. And the lag's a little bit like, I'm pressing this, what's going on here?
Yeah. Although I will say that's why I like the idea of doing more RPGs on that system.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure if I go online, I can find a way to like speed up or see what causes that lag. I just haven't done it yet.
Like what it would... that wouldn't be on it. I was gonna say maybe a tactics, but that's that thing doesn't hold tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics.
Can you play ROMs on that thing?
No.
And that's where I was gonna be like, oh, that would be.
There is a newer one I think that you can do that on.
A lot of what was it called? Blackberry Pis? No. Something. There's some like it's essentially just a bunch of ROMs you can load up on a disc, and it's got an interface to plug into your TV and play.
But Super Nintendo has Harvest Moon, and don't you just want to farm all the time?
See, now if we had really gone crazy here, I would have picked the Nintendo Wii, but specifically the hacked version of Nintendo Wii, the homebrew one, where you can download all the ROMs for all the previous systems and play all the GameCube games. You got Super Nintendo, Sega Master System. They had the TurboGrafx 16 as well, and I think some Coleco games, if I'm not mistaken, but all on one system.
But what about Neo Geo?
Neo Geo 2 was also on it. Yep. But that's going outside that's going outside our system realms. Really, we were just choosing a straightforward system to have. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was cheating.
Real quick, so that's the battle there. I wanted to talk a little bit, get into some music stuff. Today happens to be the anniversary of Kurt Cobain's death. 23 years ago, I believe is what they said.
Not the day this airs.
Not the day this airs, no.
Together.
The day we're recording this. And I got the chance to show you guys the kids react to, and it's like kids 13 and under reacting to seeing Nirvana, like listening to the songs and stuff. Any impressions from the video or Nirvana thoughts?
I don't gel with the new generations. I'm like I think when you get I think being like part of being 29 is you're like starting to like really realize
cynical.
That you're like, yeah, but just like today's stuff like isn't really for me. You know what I mean? Like today's views that like the youth has, I'm just not.
I'm glad you're recognizing that 7 years ago for me. Makes me feel... I've recognized it too. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just saying I'm 7 years in, so it's worse now.
Yeah, like I don't know what they do. I don't know what kids are into these days. Like I know for me, like when I was a kid, I was all about, like, hey, let's eat some Dunkaroos and watch Fox Television, Fox Kids,
Well, I also feel like, and hearing stuff from people I work with, like, who are parents, they seem to know about all of this stuff. Because they're not the ones that experience it, but they have to take care of someone who wants to experience it. So they know more.
Well, I mean, think about our parents do the same thing when we were growing up.
We had so much less technology, and like, I didn't get my first cell phone until 17. You know what I mean?
Technology is just a tool for it. There's still the media behind it. So there was
I
still
know,
the...
we had the ability to be sheltered from things a lot more than
How-
kids today.
How so?
Because we didn't have the internet. I didn't have the internet. You know what I mean? Like, so how am I going to know about all these things? I see a lot of, nobody wants to hear me be, a dude that's like all bah humbug about, how and why the youth of today is the way they are. Before I get too self-indulgent.
I mean, the internet was around for me in high school, and that...
In high school, but, but, I mean, you've already
So it had to have been around longer than...
You've already been shaped. You know what I mean?
No.
But no.
No, I don't think you're shaped in high school.
I think that obviously your youth leads to a lot of the way you feel things as you get older.
I mean, the way your parents.
So
raised
like,
you.
I'm talking about kids.
A part of that. You got your own friends and family. Like there's friends, other members of your family that help influence who you are.
just
There's
saying-
your
No,
own
I'm saying that
thoughts.
starts early.
Yeah,
It starts
I'm
very
saying,
early.
I'm saying it starts way earlier these days for like kids that have iPhones when they're 7, and the children in the Kids React Nirvana video are of a certain age. You know what I mean? And I mean, I'm sure nobody wants to hear us talk about child psychology, but I mean, if you want to talk about,
I do want to talk about one thing with that video. It felt like those were all trying to be child actors.
Oh, they all definitely are.
Oh yeah, and that also I feel like influenced their reactions.
There was one time,
and then, like one of the kids is
Like a
like,
shit ton of
one of the
kids'
kids is like, oh, I can get into this. Like, really, kid?
there was one week I
Really?
saw on like 2 different television programs, like a Master Chef Junior, some like other kids reality show, and the Kids React one. 3 times the same kid on all 3 different programs, and I was like, wait a minute.
So
Yeah, like the
we're
one-
judging these kids up real kids, which is probably nothing.
there was the one response
none of
where
us
the
have
kid was like, "What are you
kids.
doing, Mom and Dad?" Like
Yeah.
who says that? You know what I mean? Like,
He was trying to be the cute kid.
yeah. Mom and Dad, what's up with that? Like, insert catchphrase.
Mom and dad are really teaching them how to make a lot of money for them.
Yo,
That's what's
teach.
really going on. There's
Hey.
my cynicalism.
Hey, just like what happened to the Olsen twins when we were growing up.
Oh no!
Full circle.
Because
Full
the Olsen
circle.
twins are my age, so you were a lot older. I think I'm like a year younger than the Olsen twins.
Okay. On that note, I'll say that's probably a good time to close things out, wrap it all up there
Yeah,
for the
we,
evening.
we went full circle.
Yeah.
Full house.
Full house, full circle in that house.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I'm just going to stop with the stupid puns right now. Any final thoughts there, Nate? Anything you want to promote? Stuff like that? Upcoming shows for later days that people can catch at. This will probably be airing the third week of April? Second, third week? Yeah.
I think if you want to stay like in touch with what's going on with Later Days, just stick to our Facebook, our Instagram, Later Days TX. We're going to be playing all over Texas. We're going to be doing some more regional touring and put out some goodies and maybe some surprises for everybody.
Yay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mr. Murn, final words, thoughts.
Did I accidentally win another battle?
Entirely accidental.
I'll take it.
Entirely
He tried
accidental.
to win. He accidentally won the battle the way that I was trying to win the battle for myself. sneakily. I was trying to manipulate it to win, and accidentally, I realized I was like, fuck.
Didn't do that math in your head.
Hey, you know whatever.
And I technically, it would have been a split then 3 different ways if, however, whatever.
So
I don't care.
Passover is coming.
Because if he didn't say Breath of Fire and I didn't point out that it was Super Nintendo,
I would have picked Sega.
yeah.
And final thought for me, Passover is coming up, and I have to rid the house of certain things that shouldn't be in it. So if anybody wants to see me run over a pile of Sega and PlayStation games, hit me up on the Facebook.
Or just follow certain people's handles on Instagram or something. You'll probably post videos there.
Secondhand news.
All right. Well, thank you very much for listening to us. A little self-promotion now. Please follow us on the Instagram and Twitter on @Jett Theory Radio. That's JETT Theory Radio. Like our Facebook page, Jett Theory Radio. And we also have a website, coincidentally enough, JETT, theoryradio.com. Alrighty, nothing more else to say then, except on that final note. James, let's end this.